Dalvin Cook let the Vikings know earlier last week he will participate in any team activities. No more Zoom meetings, no more team workouts. Whenever they are able to go back to Minnesota to start working out and start having some organized activities, he won't be there until he has a new contract. And his goal, his hope, is to either match or surpass David Johnson, formerly of the Cardinals, now of the Texans, his contract, which is about $13 million a year in salary. And so the question is, should the Vikings pay him? Should they give Dalvin Cook $13 million a year to be their franchise guy? Keep him in Minnesota, a young guy they drafted out of the second round out of Florida State. Has been nothing but productive when he's been in the field. Should they do it? My answer, not yet. I would not pay Dalvin Cook yet. I would get through 2020, see how he does, see what his stats are. From there, reconsider and reevaluate what his offer is and how much money our cap is looking at. And a few reasons why I would not pay him yet. I would wait till after the 2020 season to do so and reevaluate from there. Because number one, health is a major, major, major concern. He's played 3 seasons in the NFL. He has yet to play 1 full season. Out of the 3 years, he's now played 16 games. He missed 12 games as a rookie in his first year. He missed 5 games in 2018, and he missed 2 games last year. He missed the last 2 games of the regular season before coming back in the playoffs. Now, why this is a concern, why this is a major point, is because let's look at history. Let's look at recently other running backs to get contract extensions. Let's look at their health before they got the extension. Christian McCaffrey, right, the latest running back earlier this year, got a mega extension from the Panthers. He in his career missed 0 games. Ezekiel Elliott, another guy who before that reset the running back market, held out last year and got an eventual massive deal for running back from the Cowboys, not including his 6-game suspension for his off-the-field incidents. He's only missed 2 games because of injury. Todd Gurley, the running back who reset the market before Ezekiel Elliott, got a big deal from the Rams. Obviously, as we know, he was cut and now on the Falcons. Todd Gurley, up to that point, before he got his contract extension, missed 4 games because of injury. So the theme there is that these running backs who got paid, who reset the market, who got their money and got theirs, that has been so elusive, so hard for running backs to do, they were durable, they were on the field. Now, as we know, Todd Gurley, his knee started acting up, and as we know, his knee declined in health after he signed the contract extension, thus leading to the Rams cutting him. But these guys, for the most part, up until that point in their careers, when they got paid, they were durable. They were on the field. Think about it. Even if you include Ezekiel Elliott's 6-game suspension, they missed a total of 12 games. These Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Todd Gurley, the last 3 running backs to get paid a hefty sum and get a hefty extension. Right? We won't count Le'Veon Bell because he got signed by a new team. But the last 3 running backs, to get an extension from their team, missed a combined, as you can hear the math I'm doing, 12 games, respectively. Dalvin Cook missed 12 games his rookie year alone. So you can't trust him to be healthy. He's missed 19 total games in his career through 3 years. And as we know, the more mileage you get as a running back, the more wear and tear your body suffers. You don't get healthier as your career goes on. You don't get more injured. You only get more worn down. So if he can't stay healthy and theoretically the best shape he'll ever be in body-wise, if he gets in the field, if he's still getting if he's still getting hurt, what makes you think he's all of a sudden going to stay healthy in 2020, in 2021, in 2022? And those years are going to be way more important because you're going to give him a lot of money. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. So if he can't stay healthy now, what's going to lead you to believe that he's going to stay healthy in the future? Not to mention, let's just forget the health for a second. Let's look at his stats. He had a great 2019 last year. Played 14 games, had 1,100 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. A great season, right? One of the top rushers in 2019. But is that truly who Dalvin Cook is? Is he really a guy that's going to get you 1,100 yards, maybe 12, maybe 13 if you can stay healthy? 13 touchdowns, maybe get 10 or 11 touchdowns a year. Is he a guy you can count on? Because guess what? Through his first 2 years combined, he played in 15 games in his first 2 years combined, rushed for 969 yards and 4 touchdowns. Excuse me. Here's a guy who, for the first 2 years of his career, struggled, couldn't stay in the field, and when he didn't have that much production. He ran for more yards, played in basically just about the same amount of games, and had more touchdowns last year than he did the first year of his career combined. So it's a big risk to pay running back in general. It's a big risk for the Cowboys to give Zeke Elliott all that money, and you hope that he stays healthy and stays productive. Same thing with Christian McCaffrey. Same thing with Todd Gurley, as you saw the Rams got burned by it. But it's an even bigger risk if you pay a guy who can't stay healthy, who's had one good season that you can't even count on to be reliable with production. At least with Todd Gurley, he was consistent year in and year out. You knew what you paid when he was healthy, you knew you were going to get. At least with Todd Gurley, he couldn't stay healthy. Dalvin Cook is a guy that we don't really know if 2019 was a true Dalvin Cook, or that was just where the stars aligned. He had a great year, and it was a more of an anomaly. And the final reason why, if I was the Vikings, I would wait till at least 2021, maybe even not pay him at all, is because right now the salary cap is not favorable for the Vikings. They have $8 million in available cap space for 2020. That's after they sign the rookie class. Not a lot of money that Dalvin Cook wants. He's making just about over $1 million this season. Well, if he wants David Johnson $13 million a year, the 8 available is not going to get you to 13. You're going to have to work out, renegotiate some other contracts, maybe take some money away from other players, and really have to do a dance in order to get under the salary cap for 2020. Let alone, who knows what the 2021 cap and future caps will look like after this pandemic happens. Right? The NFL right now is a great unknown, which we have no clue how much money they're going to have and how much the salary cap could dip. Because if fans aren't allowed in the stands, that's a massive hit. If the season can't even get played or can't finish, that's a massive hit. And as we know, MLB is not immune. The NBA so far is facing questions and facing financial losses. The season can't be finished or not even resumed, or if there's fans not in the stands, revenue, no matter what, for the NFL is going to get lost. So as we saw, the salary cap continues to increase and increase and increase because as the amount of money comes in, as the amount of revenue comes in that keeps on topping it and becoming record-setting revenue, easy for me to say, year after year after year, the salary cap is tied to the revenue. So less money coming in means the salary cap is going to go down, which means all of a sudden that big contract you gave Kirk Cousins is eating up more cap space than you initially planned for because now you keep on planning for the salary cap to go up. You think it's going to increase next year, increase the year after that, increase the year after that. Well, if that's not the case, you pay Dalvin Cook, all of a sudden now you're on the hook. You have now way less money and way less percentage of cap available to pay the rest of the team than you thought. And as we know, it's not wise to have a significant amount of money tied up to a running back because that position is very easy to replace. It's almost a rotating door. And if you have a good offensive line, you can plug almost anyone back there and they'll produce and they'll churn out yards. And the bonus here for the Vikings is that because of the way the contract works for Dalvin Cook, as we've seen with Ezekiel Elliott, he held out a training camp. He was down in Mexico, and he wouldn't come back until the Cowboys gave him a new offer. Dalvin Cook can't do that. Because guess what? If he misses training camp, even if he reports later that year, if he misses training camp, he loses a year of service time. Which means what? Instead of becoming an unrestricted free agent after the season, he would have some restrictions on which teams he could sign for and the compensation that he can get. So he's basically forced to go to training camp. He is forced to not be able to hold out. So he doesn't have the leverage. He doesn't have the ground to stand on to really put the Vikings between a rock and a hard place where they're trying to win this year. They realize Dalvin Cook's a big cog in the machine and helps the Vikings run. When they're at their best, Dalvin Cook is on the ground gaining a lot of yards. They pay Kirk Cousins all this money, but it starts with a run game for the Vikings. So while he was very important to their success, especially this year where they're trying to win now, they have a window where they're trying to win now, trying to get over the hump, I wouldn't do it. I would not pay Dalvin Cook. I would wait to see how he performs in 2020. I would wait to see how the cap ends up turning out. Because right now I have too many questions than answers. I have too many questions about his health. I have too many questions about his production. To say, you know what, Dalvin, you show me enough. Here's a contract that we're going to regret in 2 years. I'm not doing it. So I would not pay Dalvin Cook. I think the Vikings would be wise to wait. If he has another good year, if he shows to stay healthy, I would reconsider. But right now in 2020, I would have Dalvin Cook playing his final year of his rookie deal. And I'd say, let's go play ball. Let's go see what you can do. Time to prove it. that's just me. That's what I would do. We'll see what the Vikings end up doing. We'll see how much leverage Dalvin Cook has over them, and we will definitely follow that story throughout the summer as we see eventually NFL kind of starting to get back to business as usual. Training camps will be in about 6 weeks or so, end of July, early August. We'll see what happens there, if a deal will get done, or if Dalvin Cook will be forced to play in his rookie deal, and yet again, see the running back position not valued at all. We're going to get baseball. It's definitely going to be not great. I'm interested to see the interest level, which brings me to my next point that I'd love to ask you about is, does baseball need to win you back? And if so, how can they do that? I think last night is very appropriate in timing, and we talk about timing is everything. Timing is everything. Because last night, ESPN ran their documentary about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. There we go. About their home run race in 1998. And that home run race that went on is credited with bringing a lot of fans who were turned off by the sport in 1994 after there was a strike, of bringing those fans back. National interest was back, right? Baseball was America's pastime for a long time. Like 1994 really burned a lot of people, really got a lot of fans upset and turned them away from the game. In this home run race in 1998, where Mark McGwire hit 70 home runs, Sammy Sosa hit 66 home runs as they pass the as they both set the new home run record for a single season. This was credited with bringing a lot of fans back. So I'm curious, because it's not that we're not going to have baseball in 2020. We're going to have baseball, but it's going to be a short season. It's going to be a season, in my view, that's illegitimate. And after these negotiations were so public, after we saw the distrust and really, honestly, the hatred between the players to the owners and the owners to the players, I'm curious, does baseball need to win you back? Are you so turned off by their inability to get a deal done, despite really dire consequences calling for baseball to be played? In a sport that really has struggled to expand and capture the young audience, they have the perfect opportunity to do so in a time when there's no sports currently. We had golf on this weekend, which was great. And you saw the interest level in golf for a tournament that I bet you, if there was a normal year, if 2020 was anything unlike it is so far this year, people wouldn't be caring as much as they did yesterday. But people, including myself, are watching yesterday's golf match like it was the Masters. Baseball would have the perfect platform and opportunity to get a lot of fans back and grow the sport by playing and coming to a deal. And instead, by the time they return, it's going to be close to the NBA return. It's going to be close to the NHL playoffs. And honestly, these negotiations have played out so ugly in the public that I'm curious if you've been turned off. And if so, what can baseball do? Because right now, in this day and age at least, the home run is too popular. Still, back in 1988, the home run was exciting. We didn't see it that often. You had Roger Maris's 61 home run for a single season record stand for a long time. And that was something people wanted to see broken. And again, having the chase with McGwire and Sosa both, at each other's throats, at each other's necks about trying to be the first one to break the record. People were really into it. But today, I think it's different. It's home run or nothing. So I don't think a home run race to try to pass Barry Bonds' record of 73 home runs in a single season is going to do it. For me personally, I think financial progress, financial transparency would go a long way in the end to getting fans back to baseball that have been turned off, getting fans to trust the owners, and maybe even trust the players if you've been upset about the player side more than the owner side in these disagreements. And I think it would go a long way in trying to bring fans back and getting them back to loving baseball again for the purity of the sport. I think that starts with two things. One, I personally do think it starts with the owners opening up the books. Let us see the financials. Let us see these proposed losses that you talk about year in and year out. How you complain about baseball's not profitable. How you complain that you have no money to spend because you have no money in your own pocket. Put it out there. Put the financials out there. Let us, the public, see what you're truly making. Do your expenses truly outweigh your revenues? Because if so, I think the public, and including myself, would have a different view on what is going on if we knew truly the losses that were occurring. But we don't, because we don't believe the owners. There's a massive distrust, not only from the players, but I think also it's starting to form from the fans as well. So one way to fix that is by being honest, being transparent, and being open. These are our books. This is what we make. This is what we lose. As you can see, we don't spend big money for a free agent. It's because we literally don't have it. We could say we don't have it, but not many people believe billionaires when they say they don't have money.